West Haven parents charged in the death of a child. His sister opens up to KSL about the abuse she also experienced. Plus, Alpine School.
Coming up next on Live at 5.
Speaking out for the first time, the older sister of the little boy allegedly starved to death says the abuse started years ago. I'll tell you why she says Gavin wasn't the only one that was abused.
Why does the
KSL Live at 5 starts now.
Good evening. The older sister of the boy allegedly starved to death is now breaking her silence.
Gavin Peterson's sister says that she suffered similar abuse at the hands of her father and stepmother. News specialist Garna Mejia joining us now live with that story. Garna?
Yeah, that's right, you guys. Melanie Peterson is 19 years old today. She says she suffered months of abuse at the hands of her father, her stepmother, and even on occasion, her older brother, Tyler Peterson. Now, she says DCFS was aware but failed to protect her. Melanie was about 13 years old in 2018. She says the physical and emotional abuse started gradually. She says her stepmother, Nicole Scott, would berate her and punish her for random things like brushing her hair. Then the abuse escalated, and she too was only fed a slice of bread with mustard once a day. If she wasn't outside doing yard work, she was kept locked in her room, at one point zip-tied to the bed.
They would starve me until I was really skinny. She told me what to do and I listened. At that time, I was mostly focused on surviving.
Melanie says DCFS caseworkers interviewed her on at least 2 occasions, once when a friend reported her abuse at school, and the second time after her mother, Melanie Peterson, alerted caseworkers. But she says DCFS determined that she had to stay at her dad's house, and as a solution, they created a safety plan, meaning that Melanie was not allowed to be alone with her stepmother, Nicole. Of course, she says all of those plans failed and that abuse continued. I'll get into those details coming up at 6. For now, I'll send it back to you. In Weber County, I'm Garna Mejia, KSL 5 News.
Garna, thank you. Now to a developing story. This one coming out of...
No, I have to get over my brother died.
Tonight, the older sister of a boy who starved to death is finally breaking her silence. Who she says failed her after months of suffering from abuse. And parents speak for a full trial. Now to a story on KSL that we continue watching closely. Prosecutors allege 12-year-old Gavin Peterson suffered for years before dying of starvation earlier this month. Today, Gavin's older sister is breaking her silence, alleging her father and stepmother also tortured and starved her before turning on Gavin. News specialist Garna Mejia has the details.
They manipulated me into hating my mom.
Melanie Peterson says she lived in a world of isolation under the roof of her father, Shane Peterson, and stepmother, Nicole Scott.
She called me names every day.
The emotional and physical abuse started in late 2018 when she was about 13. Melanie describes disturbing details like the time Nicole allegedly shaved her head as punishment for brushing her hair.
At that time, I was mostly focused on surviving.
But that was only the start.
They would starve me until I was really skinny.
Melanie says she was fed 1 to 2 times a day, the same food prosecutors allege her little brother Gavin ate before presumably dying of hunger.
The same thing Gavin did, bread with mustard.
Melanie says Nicole included the mustard because the kids hated it.
I can't go there.
She also alleges being locked inside a bedroom. Nicole tracked her every move with a camera. At one point, zip-tied her to the bed.
They would tie my ankles, and she said if I moved, she'd beat me over and over again.
Melanie says Nicole beat her with a belt or a wooden spoon. In March 2019, a concerned friend reported the abuse at school, and Melanie alleges DCFS was brought in.
They basically told me that they couldn't do anything. I told them that I was deathly terrified to go back with them.
Instead, Melanie says a safety plan was created and Nicole wasn't allowed to be alone with her.
I remember her telling me she wanted to kill me.
But the abuse allegedly continued until May of 2019, when Melanie was finally able to go live with her mom. But Gavin wasn't allowed to come with her.
I want Gavin to get the justice he deserves.
And the suspects are due back in court tomorrow. DCFS has declined to comment on the case so far. Back to you.
It's such a disturbing case. The more we learn. Garna, thank you.
All right, let's get a check of the forecast.